Hi. For this course, this is the last time you are meeting me, right, using this beautiful NPTEL platform. And if you see what we have learned over last 12 weeks, right, is different things. First is what are the logistics in rodent experiments, right, and Dr. Shabri Girishan, who is a neurosurgeon, has taken you and taken you towards understanding how important it is to understand brain, right. And as a demonstration he has shown the rodent as a model. Rodent is a rat as a model, and then we tried to pitch in and make you understand how we can use microengineering technology to fabricate different kind of sensors, whether it is implantable sensors, whether it is a micro needle, right, whether it is a flexible devices that you can use for recording or acquiring the brain signal. And simultaneously we have also talked about how can you have an electronic system that can be used for electrical stimulation. Then we have also seen what kind of epileptic seizures are there, how can you detect it, how can you classify it, whether it is a focal seizure or generalized seizure or absent seizure or focal to generalized seizure, or it is a normal subject, right. And then we have also seen the species of rodent used in neural experiments. You may have seen one of the species called Wistar, right. Then we have looked at the epilepsy, stroke, motor movements, Parkinson's models, or how to develop different kind of technologies to understand those diseases. Then we have seen that how we can have the BCI model and how we can fabricate microelectrode array, followed by what are the challenges and challenges while acquiring the signals and synchronizing and to correlate with the synchronization behaviors. We have also seen in one of the topic about how the brain simulation can be done, how the protocol for neural experiments can be set. We have seen how the rodent neurosurgery is done. There were two parts that was taken by Shabri. The first one was on rodent anesthesia techniques, its introduction, neuroanatomy, several tools that are required, how to sterilize those tools, what is craniotomy, what is micro neurosurgical instruments and techniques are there, how the sensor implantation is done, and how the head mounting was done. Then there was one more module where he has talked about the spinal anatomy, spinal cord sensors, implantable strategies, peripheral neural anatomy, biological basis of contemporary neural networks, and neural substrates for contemporary neural networks. So, lot of things towards neural network were also covered by Sabri. Finally, we ended the course with talking about ERP lab, EEG lab, event related potentials, ERP extractions, the time frequency analysis, signal interpretation, for how can you have a raw data that you acquire and how can you further work on those data to interpret certain signatures, and from those signatures can we infer a particular problem in the area of brain, whether somebody has a seizures, what kind of seizures, which area of the brain is causing seizures. Finally, we have looked at some recent trends in neural engineering and a little bit of decoding techniques and challenges. So, with that was all about this course, and I hope that over 12 weeks of time that we spent together, along with few lab classes and a lot of TA classes, you have learned significant amount of devices and technologies that can be used for neural engineering, in addition to understand the anatomy of brain, anatomy of spinal cord, and several different implantable devices and its strategies. So, I wish you all the best for your exams if you are appearing for the one, and for other courses, subsequent courses that you enroll in through NPTEL platform. So, one final time you give me permission to say you bye, and I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you.